gotten to work with a lot of different artists and producers, like Puff Daddy, and can you compare and contrast some of the different personalities that they have, like between Puff and Eminem? Like, what's the big work difference between those two?
I don't know. They're very, very different people. I think you can tell. Working with M is really cool because I feel like we have a lot of similar instincts when it comes to music and lyrics and stuff, and so it's like, it's really fun. And then, like, working with Diddy, we never actually like worked in the studio together. It was pretty much like playing each other's stuff in the studio and then, you know, just showing up somewhere. Like when I see Diddy, it's usually because of some random thing, like he'll be throwing Jimmy Iovine a party or something. Like we're never actually like working in the studio.
And on that note, it was sort of an interesting side note. I was talking to you earlier that one of the engineers you work with a lot is Testa, who is a graduate from here. And can you talk a little bit about what it's like to work with Matt?
Matt was great, actually. He was one of my favorite people on Diddy's team. So it's cool that he is from here, or he went to school here or whatever. That's awesome. I didn't even know that until today.
And can you talk a little bit about the inspiration for I Love the Way You Lie? I know you said you wrote it in a cabin, but sort of where was your head when you were writing that?
Well, you know, this music industry can be a bitch, and I kind of got stuck and went broke for a while and had a hard time. So I moved up into a cabin in the woods, and that's where I had that little studio that I learned how to record my own vocals in. And I spent a lot of time out in the woods, talking to myself, surviving by myself, chopping wood, going outside to use the bathroom. And those were the type of experiences that really empowered me. After I left the woods, I really felt like a different person and like I could do anything that I set my mind to. If I could survive that, I could survive the music industry. That's kind of what my thinking was. And so the first thing that happened after I left the woods was I wrote Love the Way You Lie. So that was a sign that I had done all the right things, you know, at that point, and made good decisions by leaving the industry. People were like, what? You're in the industry, you're like living in LA, you have all these contacts or whatever, but I was like having such a hard time. And my brain just said, go to the woods. And people were like, you're fucking crazy. But I did it anyway, and then, look, I showed them.
And speaking of your writing, it seems like your writing is for one particular style, but then it tends to get inserted into like a hip-hop song, or when you're writing a song, do you have the intention of where it might lead, or do you have just write it as it is?
I kind of just do what I feel. Like, everything that I do is based on my emotions. Whether it's the sound of something, or the melody, or a lyric, it's all because I think the point of music is to you know, basically turn an emotion into something like more tangible, or more something that people can relate to. And so I just do what I feel pretty much all the time, and even in life, and making knee-jerk reactions and decisions and having, yeah. My manager's over there laughing at me. I act too emotional sometimes about business, is what I'm trying to say. So, yeah.
The business manager would laugh at that.
But that's why I have managers. That's why I have business people to do that stuff. So I can be the psycho artist.
And speaking of business, you just came off a tour. Do you want to talk about that at all?
A tour?
In support?
Oh, I did my own tour this summer to promote my album. And that was awesome. I wasn't expecting so many fans to come out. I didn't think I had any fans. And then I sold out New York, Chicago, a couple other places, and it was really exciting.
So your album just came out, you just finished a tour. What's next for you?
Next for me is writing more and just being me. It's hard to be yourself in this industry, I've found, because you have so many people like telling you what to do or what they think you should do. I think especially as like a young female, a lot of people trying to make you into something. And so just like staying true to yourself is like my daily struggle. But I think it's also the most important thing to do.
And you're sort of in a unique perspective of you're your own recording artist, but you also write for a lot of other artists. What do you find to be the most rewarding?
They kind of go hand in hand for me because most of my success came from writing for other people, but then I got that, through that I got the opportunity to make my own album and stuff, so it kind of, in my world, works together. So I do both. I kind of like focused on my album until it was out, and now that my album's out, I've been focusing more on writing for other people again.
And most of the audience is either working in the music business or a recent graduate trying to start out. So do you have any advice for them about how to get their career going?
Only do it if you really love it. If you really love it and you can't do anything else every day.
You can curse, it's fine.
What?
You can curse with your holding back there, it's fine.
Sorry, I have a potty mouth. I was trying to tone it down. That's why I go into this like.
And so, speaking of that, you sort of are known for the more serious tracks. You wanted to lighten it up a little bit for your most recent track with Eminem. Do you want to talk about that?
The bicycle one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's just kind of something that happened. I don't really know how. I'm really silly in the studio, and even though I write a lot of dark music, I actually have like a really goofy side. And when that song like was starting to be made, it was just fun for me to be bouncing around in the studio and like jumping around and singing, because that was not something I normally get to do when I sing my songs. And so then I was like, this would be fun live, like it's a good song to play live and all that stuff. And so Come On Let Me Ride Your Bicycle, obviously it's not about bicycles. There's hidden meanings, not quite that so hidden. Maybe.
Especially the video, right?
Yeah, the video kind of drives it home. But yeah, it's sarcastic. It's a sarcastic video. Like, I'm not into the whole like bubblegum pop thing, but that's the most bubblegum pop song I've ever done. And it was just kind of like fun to get it out of my system.
I think having Eminem in there sort of helps the satirical element.
Yeah, I was almost like, I don't know if I can actually put this song out unless M's on it, because he kind of legitimizes it a little bit.
And I'm guessing just based off of your age that you were probably in about elementary school when Eminem's first record came out. How much of a fan of you were you?
I don't know how old I was. I bought his Marshall Mathers LP though, and I hid it from my parents. I remember having that CD, and just like anytime my parents would leave, I would rock out to it. And yeah, I always had him as #1 on my list of people I wanted to work with, and then I got to do it. And I continue to get to do it. I have a song coming out on his next album.
So what was it like getting to work with somebody that you'd spent so much time idolizing?
I was really nervous at first when I met him, and I kind of kept my mouth shut. And then I think he kind of thought I hated him or something, because I just never talked. And then it kind of broke the ice, and now we're cool.